Okay, let's just make sure the audio is working. 1 second. Yep, so we're all good to go. Hi guys, so this is part 2 of the Jeep Wrangler kit that started last week. So just for anyone who didn't see the first part, so that's what it's going to look like. And so, yep, it's a bit smaller than the Land Rover we did last time. There's only two sections to the instructions this time, so it's not going to, so this will probably be, well, this will be the last one. That's what we got to so far. So basically the underlying structure of the whole thing, and then you've got independent suspension. That one's not had its suspension springs put in, which I don't think there are any for the front one. I think there's only for the rear one. I suspect that's probably just to emphasize the fact that it is actually independent. Yeah, you can see the independent stuff on the back there. Weird artifact. I'm not sure what's causing that. I'm not sure if you can see it. Almost looks, I don't know, computer being odd. Yeah, and then you've got a little steering column at the back. So all very cute. This is, yeah, again, I think it said 9+ on it. So this is nowhere near as advanced as the Land Rover model we did. But still, thought it'd be a fun one to do, as I still haven't finished sorting the Lego. I know I said to get it done, but you know, life and whatnot getting in the way. So before we start this, as always, do a little bit of knolling. Now this is going to be mostly the actual frame of the Jeep, because, well, yeah, so the body of the Jeep, the frame is pretty much done. I mean, I could just stick wheels on it and have done with it, but I mean, I'm well aware that there are knackered old Jeeps around that look like that, but it's not what we're going for. We're going for this being a actual finished Jeep, as opposed to just some guy's knackered old garage project, which, yes, I've seen enough. Just adjusting a little bit. I'm going to pull that forward a little bit so you can see. Yeah, just to make sure that I don't end up doing all my hand stuff away from the camera. Yeah, this little arm I bought, I realize it's the same one we had at work, has made a big difference. I tend to keep the camera on that now, because perching it on top of a big, 48-inch screen, it's just way too tall. And this way I can just have it, I can just move it into position when I want to do some, when I want to do a video call or something. And it's better for keeping eye contact, I suppose. It's not the best way to do it, but I can look around it. Incidentally, we did have a new Dell display unit we got at work just before Christmas, which has a built-in webcam. It literally costs us like, I think it's like £3 more than the standard model. So yeah, let's just have the one with the webcam in it. And because it's all self-contained, they've put in a little tilt and shift function. So when you're looking in at the center of the screen, I realize the way I had it set up, I'm a bit too tall for it, but when you have it pointed at the center of the screen, it does actually, you are essentially making eye contact with people on the call, which is really nice, because that's the one thing with it, which is always been the problem, is actually making direct eye contact with the camera. I mean, here it doesn't matter. I've just done away with the second camera because I think I took it to work, and quite frankly, we don't have access to enough webcams to do it just so you guys can see me witter on as well as do this. But the actual thing you're interested in seeing is this and this. So putting the extra in just wasn't worth it. Right. So I did find out, much as I poo-pooed last time, the app for Lego, some of the things are just a PDF, at which point it's essentially just if you lose this, but there are there's a limited number of models. I don't know why it's limited, where you get a full CAD diagram for it. And so you'd actually be able to see, like, this is the piece, you can see it ghosting. I recently impulsively bought a new Android tablet, mostly just so I could read on it, because it was just nice to have something bigger than my phone. And it can do it. It's just too damn slow. I mean, it's like, 1 gig of memory and a few other bits. I literally just got it so I could watch YouTube and read websites. I mean, so there's a little bit of me going, well, I wish I had spent some more money on it, but there's also a bit of me going, this was an impulse purchase, so it's probably better that I didn't. I don't know. I might upgrade it at some point, but it is literally, I mean, considering the fact that I've got this all singing, all dancing phone, I literally just wanted has bigger screen. And if I could just get a dumb terminal that I could, actually, that would have been perfect if I could have just got a dumb terminal that could have wirelessly linked to my phone, or with a wire. That would have actually been better than a tablet. But those days, I know people have experimented with those kind of ideas and they never quite work. But never mind. So it's one of those things where just like, oh, I can't, I've got the tablet because my eyesight ain't what it used to be. And so even though I've got, like, hoofing great big phone, I mean, it's sort of, this is not a small unit. I mean, you can see it in comparison to my hand, but having a little bit more space to view things was nice. And anyway, what else has been going on this week? Work's been tightening up the COVID stuff a little bit. So we're in a slightly weird situation where I now have to work 2 days a week in a separate office so that I am not in the bubble of people who I don't usually work with, which, sure, fine. It's just been a little bit irritating when a couple of times, well, one time so far, it's like I've been stuck out in that little office and I've forgotten to take something with me. And I was like, oh, I can't go in because everyone else, and no one else actually turned up to work. It's like, oh, okay, you lot are working from home, so can you tell me next time so I can get free reign of the office where I work and you guys only come in occasionally? It's fine. I know everything's up in the air. I know everything's weird. I mean, we've just had the order to we're having to up to 3-ply face masks as a minimum, and which fine. I didn't even think about it before, but I have asked for an addendum to that we can have 3-ply washable face masks, because I do not like using the disposable ones. Like, I get if it's in a hospital, they have the easiest way to stop the infections to just dump them. I get it. That's medical usage. Medical usage, disposable stuff in medical usage makes far more sense than it does in like a personal use, because, well, I know there is the plague out at the moment, but there's also the fact that I'm not actually, there's no surgeon that's cut me from sort of chin to sternum to get at something. So it's not as important that you keep it sterile. I mean, it is important. I know, COVID, etc., etc. Dumbest thing I've seen with COVID so far is some clod has decided to disseminate the rumor to the Asian community that the vaccines contain alcohol and pork. And yeah, I'm in no way going to say anything against the Asian community in terms of their understanding of science. I think this is just a general thing of, you've got people who maybe didn't go too far in school. You've got those of every race and every class. And they've just picked the scary thing, which unfortunately there's some historical precedent for forcing them to. Apologies, I'm going to have to go retrieve that. Whatever it was, unfortunately, it was a clear one, which makes it harder to find. I'm just going to have to be careful as I talk, because I'm trying to keep everything in sight of this camera, but I'm also aware that I'm kind of close to the edge of the desk so that I can reach it. So just need to be careful with that. But yeah, it's just frustrating, especially as there is unfortunately historical precedent of can't remember the name of the rebellion, but in India in the 19th century, where they started putting the gunpowder in greased packages that were greased with pork fat, and of course the guys weren't happy about that, neither they. And anyway, it's beside the point. There's several imams have got together to issue a statement saying that this is completely wrong, which I suppose is probably the best way to deal with it. It's frustrating, and quite frankly, I can't say anything against that particular group, considering the anti-vax nonsense that happens with white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. I'd find it slightly strange if other groups didn't end up with their own weird version of it, because stupidity loves company, and stupidity is bred by fear tends to breed an acceptance of stupidity. Yeah, it's a shame, but it's just the way things are. Hopefully everyone is safe at home at the moment. I think probably that is the last I'm going to say about the C word. Yes, just be careful, wear a mask, and wait for further instructions regarding your vaccine. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, other than that, work's still pretty quiet. There's not a lot going on because, well, there's no students. There's some documentation stuff. It's nothing interesting. I've also been going down a little bit of a rabbit hole with, and yes, I'm well aware this is nerdy, but you're sitting here watching me play. You're sitting here watching me play with Lego, so mind what you say. I've started going down a bit of a rabbit hole with Warhammer 40,000 audio dramas. Well, audio dramas and fan audio work. There's a guy called No Man who's done some really cool stuff. It's all free. It's all in his YouTube channel. He's done some really fun like audio drama stuff. There's like 4 or 5 different stories he's running at once. One is about Og the Ogren. An ogren is an ogre basically, but it's like essentially it's a heavy gravity adapted human. But as has been pointed out by a biologist, intelligence is not actually selected for genetically. So you've ended up with it, and the brain don't have to take up a lot of glucose. So you can see how humans who were stuck on a high gravity, they call it a death world, essentially high gravity, barely colonizable planet, when the proverbial hit the fan and the human empire was broken up, you can see how they would have very quickly evolved into something else, and those are the Ogren. But there is a tendency to show them as absolute darlings, as yes, they are angry, vicious creatures, but they're also like toddlers, essentially. They ain't afraid of nothing apart from claustrophobia. Yes, the 2 things an Ogren is afraid of is claustrophobia and disappointing the Emperor. Because once you explain to them slowly the Imperial cult, they are very dedicated, and the Emperor is the one what looks after them, so they look after the Emperor. They get this anyway. Og the Ogren is a lovely story, and it's nice seeing them humanize the characters to a degree, because Ogrens are Ogrens are a bit thick. Yes, they are. It's no fault of their own, and but Og is one of the smarter ones. He even attempts introspection at times. There's that, and there's also one which even the characters go, "This is stupid," but it is kind of fun, which is Orc War Boss essentially somehow gets it into his head. I think he gets trapped in a Imperial cathedral and ends up like for several days just staring at a mural of the Emperor, and somehow he decides he is the Emperor. And it is, again, it's all slightly dumb in jokes. They're not space marines, they're space morons. Yes, and of course the the Inquisitor who's assigned to deal with this nonsense essentially goes, fine. If they're going to, if you're going to pretend to be the Emperor, they try and they're essentially going to enact his downfall. It's anyway. I think it's quite fun. He even did a little live stream thing as God, I can't remember his name now. One of the Emperor's called Primarchs. I mean, you may already know. Lorgar, something like that. It's now Orkgar, who, and he basically had an hour of him. He did a live stream where basically to represent Orkgar, he just had a picture of an orc on a stick. He was just waving. He was just waving it in front of the camera. Yeah, this is all very stupid. Yes, even like I said, even the characters say this is all very stupid. But I've listened to that, and I also listened to I've listened to a couple of the the official audio dramas, which are actually really good. The Space Marine ones are actually excellent, and it does show them as something more than just space barbarians, which is a lot. Some of the chapters are like that. Some of the chapters are like, this is bad, but we hit you, and that's it. Whereas a couple of them, it's about introspection and personal suffering, and etc. And it's like, there's this whole thing of like, oh, there's this girl who can just banish demons by using their true names. Oh, but she's sworn to silence. How is that of use? You don't know. Gotta save her. It ends up with it being useful, but sorry, I feel like I'm spoiling this as I'm going along. Anyway, I don't know. At some point, I will actually get back to playing the game proper. But at the moment, I tend to just listen. I tend to just absorb the lore, because much as it is a bit stupid, if everyone's aware of that, everyone knows this is. There's a little bit, unfortunately, there are members of the community who don't quite understand that, like, this is satire, essentially. It's just, nobody would actually want any of this stuff to happen. And you get people arguing for it, and you go, you lot are idiots. And to their eternal, to their, not, what is now? But yes. Games Workshop did the right thing, which was essentially just saying, you lot are idiots. This, just because we're poking fun at fascism, and if you're actually fascist, you can piss off. And it was just this lovely line of, and you will not be missed. And various idiots did what you'd expect and protest to the point of going, you say, oh, we're not fascists, but we don't like the way you're thinking. It's like, quite frankly, if you got angry about this, if you got angry about us chucking out fascists, then you kind of called yourself out there. Yeah, a little bit of that. But anyway, like I said, I've been listening to the audio dramas, and they're actually quite well done. Like some of them are just like, Guy does voices, which is works really well. One of them was just Guy does voices, but the Space Marine compilation, they do actually have sound effects and voice modulation. If man in giant robot suit, then giant robot voice man has it. That level of like, it's not a lot, but it does make a big difference, because at that point you can, it gives you a better idea of what's happening. Little bit of sound effects go a long way. Right, so that is, I'm assuming we're doing the roof. I mean, yes. No, this will be the, you see, you've got these hoofing great big wheel arches. This will be a wheel arch on this side based on the angle, I think. Again, this model doesn't have it. Otherwise, I would have tried to get it working, but there is for the models that do have full 3D CAD, you can do a ghost thing. So you'd have this, but then superimposed onto it would be sort of translucent of where it goes, which, yeah, it was actually a really nice thing to be able to switch on and off. But like I said, it's not being used that much, and the tablet I got ain't too fast. Which again, I didn't need. I had no intention of getting a fast one because it's not what I wanted it for. So hang on. Yeah, so you can see that's going to be the rear cargo compartment. And yeah, Technic does use a lot of these sort of like long locking lugs to locking doodads to get it in place. But right, okay, that's annoying. So it says one of those, and where the hell does that go? I see where it goes. Goes in here next to it. So you've got yeah, and then you've got the like the mudguard footplate thing. So that's going to be the bonnet, I think, looking at this. No, sorry, that's a door. So we're actually going to put the doors on now. I had a moment yesterday where I got all overexcited and then realized it was just because a website had not accurately described what it was they were doing. So Curry's thing was like, they said, oh, you can get a GTX 960. That's anyone watching this in the future. The current NVIDIA graphics card, which is very hard to get. Basically, anything that does anything fun with games, fun with new games, is hard to get at the moment because of manufacturing, because of the apocalypse. So of course, I went, oh great, available for collection. Nah, it's not available for collection in your area. It's like, okay, you just designed this wrong, haven't you? You don't actually have any. You're just I don't want to say trying to fool me, but see, this is the kind of thing where they see, like here, it would be great if we have the thing rotated. It's annoying because there's one thing that this camera doesn't have is shock absorbers or image stabilizers. So I suppose probably why a lot of people do actually go for the SLRs, but they always have the problem if they cut out, because I want to do a live stream and I could do it in sections and cut it up and do it properly, but I am being lazy. I know I could actually do this in sections and cut it up and edit it properly, but then you lot couldn't see it as a live stream, which some of you do sometimes turn up. That's not a hint. I'm happy enough burbling along on my own, and I'm well aware that on Sunday everyone's busy, so it's not me going, oh, why aren't you here? It's seriously, it's fine. Yeah, so that's why I'm not using the NSLR to this, because although they've become sort of like the de facto small camera unit, they do have the old tax issue because of the fact that they are not classed as, well, it's two issues. One, they have an overheating issue, which is officially why they have problems, and the other one is a tax issue, which is that they don't count as so they don't count as professional recording equipment. Well, it's to stop them counting as professional recording equipment. So okay, I mean, I don't think this is going to have detents. It doesn't look like there'll be anywhere to stick them in. Fine, and I'm not gonna kick up a massive fuss because they don't have hang on. Have I done that right? Yes, I have done that right. That does go in there. I'm assuming there's going to be a lock in there as well, because otherwise it's It'd be more flimsy than I would like. So, I assume we repeat the same on the other side. And we'll have two sets of doors. I mean, as you can see, it's like, so that's now a rear. I think that may end up being the mounting for the spare wheel. Or it may be like a pop down thingy. So we need two of those. Right. The other thing I should probably do at some point is put the PDF with instructions on so you guys can follow along. I mean, you can see it reasonably well here, but it would probably be easier for everyone. So, okay. There we go. Come on. Get them lined up. It's always a little bit of a faff. There we go. That's in. Once similar kind of thing on this end. I'm sorry, I've got one of those Ogren marching songs in my head now, and they're not complicated. It literally is just "The Emperor is so great, doodah, doodah." That's about as far as they go. Well, as far as linguists they can remember, but yeah, it's just making me chuckle because it's so ridiculous. Those nose needs are different on either end, but whatever. There's probably going to be reason for that. Wait, what? Hang on. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the right orientation diagram, which again, CAD models for all your Legos, darling. And actually, it would be great. They're never going to do it, but CAD models for all their retro stuff as well. Because, I mean, even if I had to buy the CAD models for my old models, that would actually be kind of cool. Let's see. So that one is. I think what I might do for next time, I've now learned my lesson, is the fact that it's on the same table, you're getting that vibration. There's actually a mounting just over there I could have put it on. I'd have to jiggle things around, but I think next time I might put the camera on a different, surface to everything else, because although this is fine for video conferencing, so you can see my face, but trying to read words with it isn't. It's not perfect, but it's not what we bought these for. I'm not sure what that. Anyway, I think I'll at least put it in place properly before I start trying to fiddle with it. Yeah. 1 second, just to get that in place. Right, so yeah, that does lift up and down. I'm not sure if it's going to do that long term or what the point is yet, but we will see. I'm assuming it's something to do with, well, it is in the boot, so I don't have the boxes directly behind me. I'm not going to start fishing it out just to, because we will see soon enough. I mean, there's only another, 50 pages left? Less than that. I mean, that's sort of, there you go. That's more like it will look like. Hang on. some point I was supposed to stick that in and I didn't, but it's a good thing I spotted it. There we go. And that'll be the door on that side. Okay, so same as we did before. Still not entirely sure with these, when you got the little bump in the middle, whether it really matters which way around you go. I mean, I'm assuming they've shaped and tapered them so it doesn't, but we'll see. Mine's gone blank. What am I looking for? I'm looking for that. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. So 3 more of those. Also trying to think what I should do. I mean, Lego vehicle is a nice, easy thing to do. And I thought, oh, I could just do another vehicle. I think I might want to do something else next time. Like not necessarily like a truck or something, because there's a lot of the little ones like, oh, you can do a truck or a forklift or whatever. And it's great, but it'd be nice to have like, I don't know, a small building or something. Like I did get for some friends it was one of the, I think it was like a 2-in-1, 3-in-1 kit, but the main design for it was a little Canadian lodge, like a little holiday shack that opened out so you could see inside, and even came with a little Lego moose, just to make it even more Canadian. I mean, I am well aware that there are moose in northern states in America, but somehow it seems the most Canadian of things. It's like, I don't know, we have beavers in this country, but somehow beavers and moose are the most American, most Canadian things. Yeah, Canadian. The most Canadian things are maple syrup, beavers, moose, and politeness. Which, I mean, being known for being amusingly polite is probably. I mean, there's a lot worse traits that you could be known for. Hang on. So, I'd say we might have a problem, but no, we don't. We just do that. Okay, so that's. So I'm assuming, again, those are part of the boot mechanism, those little bits there. So we've now that's the next thing. And then there's a crossbar that has all the instruments on it, okay, which is the big long one. So I mean, that's the whole width of the thing. So put the dashboard sticker on. Which is, reasonably straight, but there's little knobbles on as well. Make sure I'm putting this in the right way up. And that should, lock. Straight. Come on. Come on. straight across there. Okay. So yeah, like I said, this ain't going to be a long one. We're already getting quite far into its construction, and because these are big pieces, it's only a couple of sections here and there. Hang on. That's better. Sorry, I've got the for my back, I've got one of those gym balls to sit on, and it has actually worked quite well. It's been quite comfortable, even though it doesn't have any back on it, and it's just sort of I find it. I find it quite comfortable, apart from just my trying to find the best place to put my left leg. I think it's probably like one side of the muscle isn't strong enough kind of thing, so I need to be careful of it. But anyway, that's why I was fapping around with the location. Yeah, I do need to find a better way to mount this camera so it doesn't. Or I suppose when it's ready to do so, invest in one of the proper streaming cameras, the ones that run at 4K and have the stabilization. I mean, it's 200 quid if you can get hold of them, if you can get hold of them. And I know people are going, oh, why are you doing to do that? It's like, well, in actual fact, I suppose it's more speed of encoding, because like 1080 is great if you encode properly, which is why a lot of people, a lot of guys, well, I know Linus Tech Tips does this because they had a whole thing of like, why did we buy a 4K camera when most people don't have access to 4K? And it's so that you can, you could super sample and then downscale. Because I mean, you can probably see here, yes, this is 1080p, but there's a lot of like junk pixels here. So I think that's what they were going for, but I don't know. I mean, this is fun to do as a hobby, and you guys seem to like it, but I'm not going to be doing this properly. I'm not going to become one of the Lego guys on, because I have a job. I have a job teaching people. Well, I suppose I do teach people to a degree. And do I want another one, or do I just want to have this as like a thing I do on a Sunday? Yeah, I don't know. It does kind of get weird when you start doing things on the internet that you get paid for. It's like I know somebody, will not say who, dear Lord, and it's all A, I won't say, and B, you probably either don't know or it's not who you're thinking of, who has an OnlyFans. I think, well, that's great, but I kind of feel like you've made a little bit of a rod for your own back there, because now you've got to be sexy on command several times a week. Do you really want to spend the time doing that? I mean, this person I think probably will, because she's an art student who's very keen on her makeup and whatnot, and she spends a lot of time posting that. So I can see how this is a logical conclusion, a logical extension, but I don't know. I've had two different schools of thought on, doing something you love for money. I got one friend where he just said, no, I'm not doing that, because at that point it becomes a chore and it's not fun anymore. And I've heard other people go, find something you love and do that for the rest of your life. So I understand both points of view. Didn't ask me to put that one on yet, which I assume is because it needs to lock into something. So I'm just going to do this one first. I don't know. I suppose I've done all right, because I've got a job which isn't the funnest thing in the world, but the fun things you don't tend to get paid. The fun things you either need to be you need to be very, very good at them when it gets aggressively competitive, or you don't get paid a lot for them. So, I mean, I don't know, imposter syndrome, pretty good at what I do, I suppose. I don't know. And right, here we go. There you go. There's the first part of your Mine's gone blank. First part of your bonnet, hood, whatever you want to call it. I swear, my pretty little bonnet, I will end you. God, I think I've reached the point where young people don't get Firefly references anymore. Where would they know Nathan Fillion from? I know. They'd know him from Destiny and Homeworld 4, Halo 4. God, if only there was a Homeworld 4, that'd be fantastic. But wait for Homeworld 3 before we get that far, which is well. Sorry, there was a moment of me just going, how do I do it? And I was about to pop these and put them round, which would just be a stupid waste of time. I could just do this. So there we go. Right. So now we've got a hood. Yeah. No advanced ending in this. It's just a block that says Jeep V6. It's like, well, to be honest, you open a real Rubicon, it's not gonna be that much more interesting because it's got a big plastic shroud over it. So whatever. God, there really isn't that much left now, is there? Not that one. That one. So I don't know. I reckon the little ones we're going to do, they're going to be less than half an hour. They're going to probably be about 15 minutes. I mean, which is fine because some little short ones because I'm well aware. Oh, we had that. Sorry, a complete subject change. We had a mystery at work. This is an interesting. Well, one I found was interesting. So we did. We did these videos for the hire shop. It's essentially just for our staff so that we can tell them how to check stuff in and check stuff out. And it's quite dull. You'd have no interest in. And they've been watched a lot online. And we would say, why? Why are people watching these things? They're literally just for admin. That couldn't work out why anyone outside the university, outside of our departments, well, outside of our team, like most people in our department wouldn't have anything to do with this. Basically, there's like a dozen people who would have any interest. We worked out what it was in the end. What it was missed a bit. Yeah. No, I haven't missed a bit. It was a question more than a statement. So what it was YouTube has the dreaded algorithm, and it most of the time you have autoplay set on, and so it was like a video about a Dell 3650. Close enough. It was a 30 something. Anyway, and so what people were doing is they were looking up videos on how to do repairs on them or were they any good or whatever. And of course, it was just going, oh, you're looking for this laptop and this has it as a keyword, and therefore we show you this. And people watching maybe 20, 30 seconds. I think sometimes people watching the whole thing, but I think that's probably because they just went to the bathroom and forgot, or they fell asleep on the couch. And but then you got this thing of because the algorithm saw people watching it, or at least watching some of it, it then became a thing that the algorithm thought that it should show people, and it just didn't. Yeah. It was when I worked out because it was more of a curiosity. It was what are people watching this crap, and there you go. So it was more an opportunity for me to explain to the service desk manager how Google Analytics, how YouTube Analytics works, which was useful because if we ever did post anything, it actually shows how we can track it. Most of what we're going to be doing is, hang on. Oh, okay. Sorry. Just pointed out. Just realized a mistake I made in the previous thing because you always end up with a bundle of stuff at the end, and there was slightly more than I would have expected in the bag of stuff. And I just spotted two things I didn't put on, which I'll put this on before I forget. Literally just some nuts around the wheels. It's just to keep the whole axle from juddering apart, I think. But I think everything else is there. Rear bumper with doodads. Yeah, so I don't know. I find it interesting the fact that we could see it's the fact that you can actually see where people have come from and what videos they've looked at and that kind of thing is useful, because otherwise we would be under, well, this is exactly the kind of situation you want to weed out, which is essentially just the algorithm does a stupid. Ages ago, there was an advert for like, I think it was like for some kind of like data management thing or something, and there's like some old company that makes something dull, and it goes, oh my god, we've got everyone's interested, and they're like, yes, we're having masses and masses and masses of orders, and what it was just a baby, but just hammering the buy now button on a unattended iPad. And I was like, yep, that's well, basically that's what we've been trying. That's what this thing that we've been looking at trying to filter out, is the fact that we didn't. We could have gone, oh my god, people are watching this. Maybe it's just because the guy who actually did the video said this is boring nonsense. No one would have any interest. Why is this happening? And well, there you go. That's why. Anyway. Way around. So that's going to lock into a. There's a bar there. It locks into. Okay. It's definitely looking more and more like a Jeep. Yeah, I've seen some guys online doing Lego Transformers, which, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, some of them, they have actually been able to get them so they fold properly without having to like connect or disconnect anything, and some of them haven't been able to do that, and it's just this moment of like, I don't know. It's I think it's maybe just a little bit beyond what Lego can really comfortably do, and I think it's possibly mixing too many ideas at once. I mean, maybe that's me being an old grump, but I am an old grump. But I think it's possibly a little bit out of scope. Never mind. Some of them look fun. Some of the stuff I've seen people do is just ridiculous. Like I've seen people do battery powered automatic weapons. I mean, literally, it's just like it's an automatic elastic band catapult. It's not anything. Well, you could have someone's eye out with it, maybe, but the spaceship building community, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like some of the stuff I've seen where it's like they're actually set with so you can actually just very gently take the lid off it, and then you've got like a full, flight deck underneath. But I don't have enough space to have this table set up with a Lego model in it all the time. I mean, hell, I've barely got enough space for this. So I suppose a lot of them tend to be Americans because they have bigger houses. Yeah, it sometimes does that way. You have to watch out for what it's telling you to do, because it's showing you how to pop this in, which I suppose is just telling you how to. I'm not quite sure why it's doing it like that, because it's like, well, I know how to pop that in because I've been doing it. So are you telling me how to do it, or are you telling me where to do it? I don't know. So and that's going to be doing the back of the roll cage. Oh, actually, that doesn't make sense. That's a back seat. There's going to be a name for it. There's going to be a name for like one of those seats stuffed in the boot that you can unfold, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'm sure there's a technical term for it. Come on. But I wouldn't know what it was because I can't be bothered to look it up. There's technical names for everything. Like I used to know what the technical name for the what do you call it? Placket is it's the piece of I think it's the piece of plastic that goes over the end of a shoelace to stop it fraying. I think it's called a placket. No, no, it isn't. A placket is the front piece of a shirt. I know that because it had to. Just me being me. I just wanted to make that we had to do a thing on like where you put a microphone, and I just wanted to make sure that I actually used the right word. And it was I had to look up how to put what a shirt was. How a shirt is constructed. And I said, please attach to your front placket. What's front placket? What's this bit? Oh, okay. Congratulations. I have just taught you what a placket is. Blankets. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. I'm sure there's going to be somebody. There's going to be somebody watching this who does tailoring who is going to tell me off, and I would counter with the fact that I remembered the word at all, even if I said it wrong, does show I'm learning. So let's just leave it at that. Let's call it a draw. So that's the roof, and only 20 pages away now. So okay, so that's the roof. Always nice knowing weird words like your is it the philtrum, the little dimple thing in between the two halves of your top lip. I think it's the philtrum, and I think the thing the bit that separates your nostrils is the septum. Yes, it is, because I remember talking to a girl I used to well, I suppose we dated. There's a girl I was still very fond of who has a septum piercing that I think was fantastic on her, though. As she did point out, it's one of those things where people either love it or they say she looks like a cow, which I think is just mean, especially as I think it looks so good on her. Yes, septum piercing, therefore septum, therefore I mean, yeah. Yep, there we go. And basically do the same thing. It'd be great for kids' spatial awareness. I mean, I'm well aware that I'm getting a little. I'm sure kids just go, "That's boring." It's like, yeah, but play as learning is important. Hang on a minute. What have I done? Says the dyspraxic, desperately trying to work out their spatial. My spatial awareness isn't that bad. I had it tested years ago, but it's not. I mean, I ain't no Usain Bolt. Now that I've said it, I'm not entirely sure he's known for his strong spatial awareness. I suppose he is. But, I don't know. Just forward fast. And then maybe fencer or something would be a better option, better person to say they've got good. Right. So that's going to be a support strut to hold that so it doesn't get all wibbly. This is a technical term, not being wibbly. Well, I'm sure if you go back through the videos, I've probably given the example of the. I mean, once we do it on the other side, so I'm going to do what it suggested. Which I know it's going to have to go on eventually, but what they tend to do is they have one side open so they can slot something in and then lock it down. I just don't know what that is yet. So I will do as the Lego gods suggest. There we go. And then that is what is that? Oh, that's a wheel arch. Okay, that makes sense, I think. So that's why we've got so many of these. We're actually going on to doing the wheel arches now. Well, the mud guards rather than yeah. There we go. Right. Yeah, it's the thing with these little bits. They do get. There are points when they get used up quite quickly. This is four of these little bits. I can't see where the fourth one goes. Right. Yeah, I can. Sorry. It's I thought it was all on this page, which is not so. Sorry, I still got the words of Orkgar in my head from Friday night of saying that, oh, Looter kills the crumpiest. And I'm well aware that I just used a bunch of words where people are just going, what the fuck is he talking about? It's like, yep. Yes. Orcus Looter kill. Some of you will be chuckling. Some of you will be going, that just sounds dumb. Some of you will be doing both. Anyway, so yeah, you are actually going to get proper mud guards. I mean, still, if you're looking at the size of the wheels, I would say probably appropriate ones because of the suspension, they're going to knock against it. Suppose it's just the difference between an off-road and on-road vehicle. Right, so. Yeah, I think next week I'm going to do I'm not sure if I'm going to do one of these next week, but if I do, I'm probably going to do a much smaller model just because yeah, there's a little bit of it's a lot of Lego I've been doing recently. There's and much as I have been enjoying it, there is a degree of fatigue in that because there's only so much. I don't know. I'll think about it. But I think it'll probably be a smaller model if I do one. Wait, what? No. Yeah, I just realized what I did. I picked the wrong one. I think that's the. Yeah, again, spatial awareness. Okay, so now we're actually getting onto the support struts for the, well, I suppose the windshield. Yes, I had to think about what the thing that's implied to be here is, as opposed to the thing that actually is here is. And I suppose you could say the windshield is much more implied than it is actual existing. Anyway, but that sure it's not bad for the cab. I mean, it is, yeah, Lego is, I'm sure there's a formula you could put together about Lego abstraction versus size. But yes, this Lego has more abstraction than the previous models we've done. I think some models work really well for abstraction. Like I'll grab at the end. I've got an A-wing which works really well, but I suppose that's because it was a little spaceship built at Greeblies. It's probably not far off the size. The actual model used in the film was probably not that far off the size of the Lego model I've got. I don't know. I don't know how big you'd make them. I suppose how big do you need to make them is part of the question. So, right. That's going to pin the doors in properly. Are there any? I think we used all the stickers. That's just a color gradient thing. All right. That's nice. But again, no detent, but because this thing's too small for detent, it doesn't really need them. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the real one doesn't actually have, either has detents that open really wide or doesn't have detents because you could, I don't know. Because one of the things with Jeeps is you can take the doors off, so you can just hop in and out. I mean, sure, fine. I've always wondered if that's okay from a safety point of view, but whatever, I'm not your mum. At least not yet. Yeah, anyway. I think we're pretty close, actually. I'm not actually sure what the rest of this stuff is for. Oh, some of it's going to be to put, yeah, it's going to be to put the mud guards on this side. Yeah, might end up being most of it, actually. We're going to end up with some random spares, and then the mud guards, and then the spare wheel. I mean, we're at page 109, so we're actually going through this as a fair clip, actually. I suppose what they did was because you've got to show the whole model and show where stuff goes and a lot of this. If you're just popping, if you're doing little sort of like bits to put together before they put them on the model, you've got to do it that way. But if you're just sticking things onto the main model, it does limit what you can show on the page. So there's your front mud guard. You two holding that on? Yeah, well. That would actually be quite a fun sort of Lego challenge thing, is Lego durability challenge. Because I mean, these aren't particularly durable, but they're not really designed to. I mean, I'll take a little bit of bashing about by a kid, but there's also the fact that because it's Lego, it'll be designed to pop out. And so, you know, the worst that's going to happen is that they're going to get something jammed, and they're going to have to tell the parent, and the parent is going to have to come and try and essentially disassemble and reassemble it. I mean, if all those fails with Lego, it is disassemble and reassemble. So fine, but it'd be interesting to see how durable you could make it. I mean, I've seen people doing like engineering stress testing on Lego, and that's always fun. There's a guy who, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but he's been able to twist steel with Lego before. Yeah. If you get the sort of the torque modeling right on gears and things, then you can do quite a lot with it. But anyway. Yep, so I wasn't paying attention there, and I should have put those on like that. It's a lot of bits left over. I'm not quite sure. I mean, wheels and things. I'm not quite sure what else to do. I mean, they may have just given me a lot of spares. I mean, I don't know. There's another interesting question: is the ratio of spares based on the age range of the Lego? Like, do they give? Because this is aimed at 9+. So do I get more spares with this than I do on one that's 16+? Do they view me as less able to? Actually, no. It looks like there's probably going to be the right number of bits overall. I'm just wondering if you get more or less spares depending on age range. I suppose you go down to Duplo, and it's just like, yep, you're not going to follow any instructions. Here's some bricks, which is definitely the right point, the right attitude towards Duplo. Come on. So this will be a roof rack. Will be a roof rack because I'm not paying attention, and that's again. It'd be just nice that they just highlighted it in. Well, I don't know, just put a white outline around the things that they're putting on, because it's very easy to sort of like, if you're like me, chattering away and just forgetting. Although it's like, no, we must do the Lego in stony silence so that we can maintain massive concentration. It's like, no, especially as I don't know. How about that for a general invite? Anyone who can after lockdown, come over and we will make Lego over some beers. Yes, I've done that before. That was great fun, actually. That said, my friends got a bit annoyed with my knolling. It's like, oh, who cares? Stop doing. Well, this helps from paying attention because I should have done that. But no, I find the knolling helps. Hell, if people get whingy about it, I could just do the knolling before they get here. I'd be happy to do it. Well, ask me once I've not been sorting Lego for a couple of weeks. Right now, I think my reaction might be no, but I know it still needs doing. I was going to show you the little jewelry boxes I got for it, but they're in the other room and I can't be bothered to go get them. So that's the end of that. Some little lights. I mean, I feel like they should be bigger. I mean, I'm not quite sure what the searchlights look like on a Jeep, but I feel like they should be at least like that big, not that. I mean, these are tiny little things. I feel like they should be like same size as the headlights, but I don't know. It's not my call because I didn't make the kit. So we're now down to, we actually got quite a few, well, what might be spares. We'll wait and see how this stay. We'll wait and see how this all plans out. I mean, there's always the possibility that some bits migrated from the generals. Sorry, so you can see it. So there's your, I suppose it's like a carry rack thing. Yeah, we're gonna end up with some spares, but it's not. I mean, oh, yeah, that's interesting because I reckon they put that in the wrong. I don't know. Remember, I did end up not putting some bits on earlier, so it may have just been that I wasn't paying sufficient attention. So, but we'll see. I want wheels. Sorry, do this where you can see it. So if Lego is the biggest tire manufacturer in the world, do they make tires for non-Lego products? Because I'm pretty sure you'll get some kind of like, I don't know, robotics or automation system that would really benefit from tiny little tires like this. And well, I know it's not part of the system, but if I was NASA, I'd be like, guys, can you make some tiny little wheels for our tiny little rovers? I mean, I don't think there's any rovers that are going to use wheels this size, but I don't know. Why not? But, I mean, there's CubeSats out there. Why not like a swarm of little rovers on the Mars or whatever? Come on. Right. Let's try that again. I'm sure there's a trick to this, but I've seen people do things with flames with real ones, but nah, I got it now. I've got the knack of it. Come on. There we go. So 4 wheels plus a spare. And let's just gently slide those on. So we don't do any. Hang on. Yeah, it should be there for the jack. Let's do the other rear wheel. Come on. There you go. I don't know. I'm not convinced. Look, I've done something wrong there. It says put them on, but feels like they're pushing too. Let's get them on first, and then we can adjust them. Be the best bet. So, yeah, this just doesn't feel like you really need these. I mean, maybe that's just me. It feels like if you, oh, whatever. Yeah, because if you push them on enough that it's, no, I kind of feel like that's a design flaw. Let's have another go. Just make sure that this is pulled out enough. Ah, there we go. That's where I'm making a mistake. Now I understand. The wheel is actually double-sided. So that lug actually docks in there like that. Right. That's why I was having trouble, because otherwise it's to push the rest of the wheel out enough it actually works properly. So, yep. Right. There we go. Which I suppose is probably like a real wheel. I don't know. Nearly done. Come on. Get on that. Right, there we go. Right, there. Now it goes properly. So we'll just put the last one on, and although it looks, oh, the locks. 1 second while I retrieve that, and then we're done. I mean, I know it looks like it's finished, but I'll know the difference, even if you guys can't quite see it. There we go. Oh, okay. Another unrelated piece. I'm pretty sure it's unrelated. I don't think any yellow doodads on here anywhere. Oh, no, it doesn't actually have one. It just pops on. Okay, so that was a spare. We'll put that back. And that. Well, now that it's finished, we may as well just go back into the central repository of the Lego pieces. Okay, there we go. So you got a little flip down. That's nice. You got a little flip down seat in the back, and then you do actually have nice sort of like independent suspension. So you can see that so it can go over rough terrain. You do have your little thing there. You pop up to see the engine, and you can steer it like this. Vroom, vroom, vroom. That's actually, I mean, okay, so that's the Jeep Wrangler in comparison with, well, there you go. There's the Lego one versus there's the real one, and yeah, I actually find that interesting that that's essentially like a fashion version of it, because this looks to be honest. If you showed me these two vehicles side by side, like if you actually made this in real and you had it like with the big chunky steel bits here, and then you showed me that and said, which do you want to go off-roading against? I want to go, this, I just noticed this has better tires than the real one does. And it looks like it has a better roll cage and it has a proper roof. That's okay. That makes me laugh. The fact that if I had to drive in one of these two, I mean, admittedly, the Lego one would actually have to be made real. But if it was this kind of chunky with the big steel bits and stuff, I'd feel safer in that than wouldn't that. Which I don't know what the hell that says about me or GMC Jeep, but yeah, you see, it doesn't actually show it with the roll bar the same way they've got here. It doesn't show. They don't show it at times with the. Hang on, I just noticed. Like this is a hard top. The real one's a soft top. That's weird. Interesting. I mean, I fine. Doesn't really matter, but it's just it's interesting to see that this has been built as a simulacra of this rather than as a direct thing, and it's actually better, more off-roady. I mean, I'm not even sure whether I don't think the seats fold down in the real version. I'm not sure. Whatever. I actually quite like that. I mean, it's not as impressive as the Land Rover was, but it's kind of cute. That's actually kind of nice the way it's got, and the fact they've kept the little steering thing in. That's kind of fun, and it does actually have like quite well. It's only got suspension on the rear, but to be honest, I think that's probably how the real one is. Jeeps are not exactly. Jeeps tend not to be in advanced. I mean, the one you just saw there, that's the current top of the range fancy Land Rover. So that's going to have, which is why we ended up with like gearing and suspension up the wazoo, whereas this is essentially just a gentrified version of a piece of farm equipment. I mean, yes, so is a Land Rover, but this feels more so like that. I mean, this is sort of this is like a little cheap nippy thing, whereas it's going to be about what 3/4 the size of a Land Rover or smaller. But anyway, hope you guys had fun with that. That was a nice little model to do. I got to think about whether I'm doing something next week. Let's see. I might take the time to actually sort through the Lego stuff. But a couple of things just to show you. So this is going to be fun. This is actually, I mean, admittedly, it's not in good shape, but it's something which I was very glad to find. So this is the old, to be a what 1990 fire rescue. This is the base of a fire rescue ship, and I'll put it this way: providing there aren't any major breaches in it, which I don't think there are. I mean, there's some cracking on top, but not actually underneath. I don't think it goes into the actual. But I don't know if it actually goes into the bowels of the ship. But I mean, yeah, it's not in 100%. It's not in that good condition. I should probably actually glue that bit back on, but it's fine. But that's going to be fun to put together because I will have to check. I'm pretty sure that will still float, and I'm 90% sure I have sufficient parts to put that together. So thought you guys might find that fun. Other thing when I was saying about scale, just to show you, I didn't do this at the time because I mean I suppose I could disassemble it and reassemble it if you guys really wanted to see that. But yeah, when I was saying about scale, so that's a New Republic A-wing from the most recent trilogy, and it even has a little spring-loaded proton torpedo launchers. But I think it's more just the nature of the shape of it means that it can be made in a smaller scale than this can, because it's a much more simplistic model. But yeah, just thought you guys might want to see that. There's a few others here. Which there's actually a boat I'm thinking I might redo just because I did it as a catamaran because I thought the catamaran was more interesting, but the actual single hull version has more interesting steering system, which, God, that was the nerdiest thing I could have said about it, but it does. Now I've seen it, I want that one. That was remote control. I'll have a look out for that, actually, because that does look fun. I mean, it looks a lot like the old Grasshopper dirt buggies that people used to build when I was a kid. It was like it was the sort of like base level, like my first have assembled this remote control car myself, and it's reasonably fast model. It was sort of above. It was essentially the step above the old Tonka nonsense, or the old Tyco ones, which were never particularly good. But no, considering the march of micro components, that actually might be quite good. I mean, it ain't gonna go too fast. It's Lego, because otherwise, if you hit it against something, it'll just shatter. Well, not shatter, but it'll explosively deconstruct itself. Anyway, I am waffling a bit, but yeah. So that was this week's and last week's model. Glad you guys. Hope you guys had fun watching that. So this was, oh God, I paid about 40, 50 pounds for this, which just for the bits is not bad. And it is actually, and it was a lot of fun to put together. So yeah, if you've got a 9-year-old you need to keep occupied, that's not a bad choice, as opposed to that Land Rover. It's not cheap. It's probably, I'm not even sure they still make it. It's probably close to 200 now. I don't want to know because Mum bought it. But anyway, as always, hope you guys enjoyed it, and that this has been a useful way to get yourselves out from underneath the whole COVID thing. And I will see you guys later. So take care, and